Good day, everyone. Our topic for today would be about creating brand equity. One of the most valuable intangible assets of the firm is its brands, and it is incumbent on marketing to properly manage their value. Building a strong brand is both an art and a science. It requires careful planning, a deep long-term commitment, and creatively designed and executed marketing. A strong brand commands intense consumer loyalty, and at its heart is a great product or service, and building a strong brand is a never-ending process. Marketers of successful 21st century brands must excel at the strategic brand management process. Strategic brand management combines the design and implementation of marketing activities and programs to build, measure, and manage brands to maximize their value. We have here the 4 steps of strategic brand management. First is identifying and establishing brand positioning. Second, planning and implementing brand marketing. Third, measuring and interpreting brand performance. And last is the growing and sustaining brand value. Before we proceed, ato sang hibaluon kung unsa day ng brand. So what is brand? Actually, a brand refers to a business and marketing concept that helps people identify a particular company or product. Brands are usually intangible, which means dili nimo siya makita ug dili pud nimo siya mahawidan. It's just that brands help shape people's perceptions of companies, their products, or the individuals. So, kaning brand, ga-consist ni siya og tanan nga features nga ga-distinguish sa goods and services nga gina-offer sa isa ka company. So, mao na siya ang brand. Brands identify the maker of a product and allow consumers to assign responsibility for its performance to that maker or distributor. Brands perform a number of functions for both consumers and firms. We are now here on the role of brands. First, we have the brand's role for consumers, and second, the brand's role for firms. First, let's tackle about the brand role for consumers. So, the brand's role for consumers is that it sets consumers' expectations and reduce their risk. A brand is a promise between the firm and the consumer. It is a means to set consumers' expectations and reduce the risk. In return for customer loyalty, the firm promises to reliably deliver a predictably positive experience and set of desirable benefits with its products and services. A brand may even be predictably unpredictable if that is what consumers expect. But the key is that it fulfills or exceeds customer expectations in satisfying their needs and wants. Brands can also take on personal meaning to consumers and become an important part of their identity. They can express who consumers are or who they would like to be. For some consumers, brands can even take on human-like characteristics. Brand relationships, like any relationship, are not cast in stone, and marketers must be sensitive to all the words and actions that might strengthen or weaken customer or consumer ties. We are now on the brand's role for firms. Brands also perform valuable functions of firms. First is that they simplify product handling by helping organize inventory and accounting records. And second is that the brand is the firm's legal protection for unique features or aspects of the product. The brand name can be protected through registered trademarks. Manufacturing processes can be protected through patents, and packaging can be protected through copyrights and proprietary designs. These intellectual property rights ensure that the firm can safely invest in the brand and reap the benefit of a valuable asset. A credible brand signals a certain level of quality, so satisfied buyers can easily choose the product again. Brand loyalty provides predictability and security of demand for the firm, and it creates barriers to entry that make it difficult for other firms to enter the market. Although some competitors usahay ilang i-duplicate ilahang awaton ang manufacturing processes and product design sa isa ka company, but they cannot easily match lasting impressions left in the minds of individuals and organizations by years of favorable product experiences and marketing activity. So in this sense, branding can be a powerful means to secure a competitive advantage. And sometimes marketers don't see the real importance of brand loyalty until they change a crucial element of the brand. What is branding? Branding is the process of endowing products and services with the power of a brand. It is all about creating differences between products. Marketers need to teach consumers who the product is by giving it a name and other brand elements to identify it, as well as what the product does and why consumers should care. Branding creates mental structures that help consumers organize their knowledge about products and services in a way that it clarifies their decision making and, in the process, provides value to the firm. For branding strategies to be successful and brand value to be created, consumers must be convinced there are meaningful differences among brands in the product or service category. Brand differences often relate to attributes or benefits of the product itself. Successful brands are seen as genuine, real, and authentic in what they sell as well as who they are. A successful brand makes itself an indispensable part of its customers' lives. Let us now proceed to defining brand equity. Brand equity is the added value endowed to products and services with consumers. It may be reflected in the way consumers think, feel, and act with respect to the brand, as well as in the prices, market share, and profitability it commands. Next is the customer-based brand equity. It is the differential effect brand knowledge has on consumer response to the marketing of that brand. So a brand has a positive customer-based brand equity when consumers react more favorably to a product and in the way it is marketed when the brand's is identified than when it is not identified. So a brand has negative customer-based brand equity if consumers react less favorably to marketing activity for the brand under the same circumstances. So mo to siya, positive customer-based brand equity kung positive ang responses sa imuhang consumers and negative kung negative pod ang or less favorably ang mga responses sa imuhang consumers. Next is the brand promise. So, brand promise is the marketer's vision of what the brand must be and do for customers. There are also 3 ingredients of customer-based brand equity. First is that brand equity arises from differences in consumer response. Second is that the differences in response are a result of consumers' brand knowledge, all the thoughts, feelings, images, experiences, and beliefs associated with the brand. And third is that brand equity is reflected in perceptions, preferences, and behavior related to all aspects of the marketing of a brand. In this slide, or in this table, we can see the marketing advantages of strong brands. Improved perceptions of product performance, greater loyalty, less vulnerability to competitive marketing actions, less vulnerability to marketing crisis, larger margins, more inelastic consumer response to price increases, more elastic consumer response to price decreases, greater trade, cooperation, and support, increased marketing communications effectiveness, possible licensing opportunities, additional brand extension opportunities, improved employee recruiting and retention, and greater financial market returns. Now, let us continue to the brand equity models. So, in this chapter, there are 3 brand equity models. First is the brand asset valuator model, the brand dynamics model, and the brand resonance pyramid. We have here the first model, the brand asset valuator model. So the advertising agency Young and Rubicam, or the Y&R, developed a model of brand equity called the brand asset valuator, or the BAV. According to BAV, or brand asset valuator, there are four key components or pillars of brand equity. These are the energized differentiation, relevance, esteem, and knowledge. First key component of the brand asset valuator is the energized differentiation. Energized differentiation is the brand's point of difference. It relates to margins and cultural currency, and this energized differentiation measures the degree to which a brand is seen as different from others, as well as its pricing power. So from the word differentiation, it means kung unsay nakalahi sa imuhang brand sa other brand, as well as sa imuhang pricing power. Next is the relevance. Relevance is about on how appropriate the brand is to you, relates to consideration and trial. This relevance measures the appropriateness of brand and the brand's appeal. And next key component of BAV or BAV is the esteem. Esteem is about on how you regard the brand. It relates to perceptions of quality and loyalty. And esteem measures perceptions of quality and loyalty, or how well the brand is regarded and respected. And the last key component is the knowledge. It is about on the intimate understanding of the brand, and it relates to awareness and consumer experience. It also measures, or knowledge measures, how aware and familiar consumers are with the brand and the depth of their experience. Energize, differentiation, and relevance combine to determine brand strength. And brand strength is a leading indicator that predicts future growth value. And next is that esteem and knowledge together create brand stature, or it is a report card of past performance and a lagging indicator of current operating value. So mo to siya ang energized, differentiation plus relevance. Pag makombine sila, mag-determine siya sa brand strength. And the esteem and knowledge, kung i-combine siya, mag-create siya og brand stature. So the relationships among these dimensions, a brand's pillar pattern, reveal much about a brand's current and future status. So brand strength and brand stature combine to form the power grid, depicting stages in the cycle of brand development in successive quadrants. Strong new brands show higher levels of energized differentiation and energy than relevance, whereas both esteem and knowledge are lower still. We have here the universe of brand performance. Kining universe of brand performance, this is under the brand asset valuator model. We can see here that leadership brands show high levels on all pillars with strength greater than stature. So as strength slips, they become mass market brands. And finally, declining brands show high knowledge, evidence of past performance, a lower level of esteem, and even lower relevance and energized differentiation. According to brand asset valuator analysis, consumers are concentrating their devotion and purchasing power on an increasingly smaller portfolio of special brands, brands with energized differentiation that keep evolving. So these brands that keep on evolving connect better with consumers, commanding greater usage loyalty and pricing power, and creating greater shareholder value. By plotting a representative group of brand scores for both strength and stature, this matrix derived from the brand asset valuator, which is the universe of brand performance, shows an accurate picture of a brand status and overall performance. So in the upper left, here are the brands that have low brand strength but high potential. They have built some energy and relevance but are known to only a relatively small audience. Consumers are expressing curiosity and interest. So meaning, kaning diri sa upper left, low ang iyahang brand strength pero naa siya potential sa market, and ang atong mga consumers is kanang curious sila or naa sila interest, or maybe they are willing to purchase the product soon. In the upper right, kaning leadership, these brands have become irresistible, combining high brand strength with high brand stature. They have high earnings, high margin power, and the greatest potential to create future value. And there is a lower left, mo ni siya diri giplat ang mga brands with both low brand stature and low brand strength are not well known among the general population. Many are new entrants, others are middling brands that have lost their way. Diri pud sa declining, diri sa lower right, mo ni siya ang mga brands di ari nga ga-show why high brand stature by itself is insufficient for maintaining a leading position. It is because that they struggle to overcome what consumers already know about and expect for them. The second model of brand equity is the brand dynamics model. This brand dynamics employs a set of simple scores that summarize brand's equity and are relatable directly to real-world financial and business outcomes. Brand dynamics maintain that three different types of brand associations are crucial for building customer predispositions to buy a brand, meaningful, different, and salient brand associations. In this brand dynamics model, we can see here the illustration. First, from the brand associations. So, it has to maintain the three different types of brand associations that are crucial for building customer predisposition. The meaningful, different, and salient. And then, sunod ana isang predisposition, and the three important outcome measures, diri na ang power, premium, potential, then dito na din siya sa market. The success of a brand along those three dimensions in turn is reflected in three important outcome measures. So these are the three important outcome measures of brand dynamics model. These are the power, premium, and potential. This power is a prediction of the brand's volume share. And the premium is the brand's ability to command a price premium relative to the category average. And the third is potential, the probability that a brand will grow value share. So according to this model, the brand dynamics, how well a brand is activated in the marketplace and the competition that exists there will determine how strong brand predisposition ultimately translates into sales. The third and last model for brand equity is the brand resonance pyramid. The brand resonance model views brand building as an ascending series of steps. Ascending meaning from bottom to top. Makita nato diri sa illustration, there is a figure, there is a left side. First, diha kanang nasa pinakaubos kay identify who you are. So, first is you have to ensure customers' identity or ensuring customers' identity or identify the brand and associate with a specific product class or need. And second, meaning or who you are. Firmly establishing the brand meaning in customers' minds by strategically thinking a host of tangible and intangible brand associations. Third is the response, or it is what about you? It is about eliciting the proper customer responses in terms of brand-related judgment and feelings. And the fourth is the relationships. What made you and me? It is on converting customers' brand responses to intense active loyalty. According to this brand resonance pyramid or the brand resonance model, enacting the four steps means establishing a pyramid of 6 brand building blocks as illustrated. Ang six brand building blocks mo ni siya ang salience, performance, imagery, judgments, feelings, and resonance. Brand salience is how often and how easily customers think of the brand under various purchase or consumption situations, or it is the depth and breadth of brand awareness. Brand silence meaning kanang ang pag-ila sa imuha sa mga customers, giunsa nila paghuna-huna ang imuhang brand. Second, the brand performance is about how well the product or service meets customers' functional needs. And third, the imagery or the brand imagery, it describes the extrinsic properties of the product or service, including the ways in which the brand attempts to meet customers or consumers' psychological or social needs. And the fourth one is the judgments or brand judgments. It focuses on customers' own personal opinions and evaluations. Judgment meaning giunsa pag tan-aw sa imuha sa consumer, sa customers, giunsa nila, unsa ilang mga evaluation about sa imong brand, ug unsa ang ilang mga opinion. Fifth is the feelings. Feelings or brand feelings are customers' emotional responses and reactions with respect to the brand. Ilahang emotional feelings, ilahang emotional nga mga responses and reactions. And lastly, brand resonance. This describes the relationship customers have with the brand and the extent to which they feel they're in sync with it. So resonance is the intensity of customer psychological bond with the brand and the level of activity it engenders. Brands with high resonance includes Harley, mga example niya, Harley Davidson, Apple, and eBay, and also Fox News has found that the higher levels of resonance and engagement in its programs engender often lead to greater recall to of the ads in runs. Naman tayo 4 stages of brand development. There is a first, which is to identify or who you are. Ang iyahang branding objective is ang deep, broad brand awareness, since it is about how aware or what people or consumers think about your brand. Second is the meaning or what are you. So the branding objective of this stage is that it points of parity and differences. Unsa may nakalahi sa imuha sa uban nga brands. The third is the response. What about you? The branding objective for that is the positive, accessible reactions. Kaya ang kaning response mo ni siyang evaluations or ang judgment sa imuhang mga consumer sa imuhang brand. And the last, the relationships or what about you and me. The branding objective of that is that intense, active loyalty. Brands are not built by advertising alone. Customers come to know a brand through a range of contacts and touch points, such as personal observation and use, word of mouth, interactions with company personnel, online or telephone experiences, and payment transactions. Now, what is a brand contract? A brand contract is any information bearing experience, whether positive or negative, a customer or prospect has with a brand and its product category or its market. The company must put as much effort into managing these experiences as into producing its ads. Any brand contact can affect consumers' brand knowledge and the way they think, feel, or act toward the brand. Marketers are creating brand contacts and building brand equity through new avenues such as online clubs and consumer communities, trade shows, event marketing, sponsorship, factory visits, public relations, and press releases, and also social cause marketing.
Internal branding consists of activities and processes that help inform and inspire employees about brands. So, ang internal branding, it focuses on the company's core culture, iyang identity, and premise to its employees as well as its consumers. Then, ang tinuod nga representative sa internal branding kay ang iyang workers sa company and its values. Brand bonding occurs when customers experience the company as delivering on its brand promise. So, ang brand promise will not be delivered unless everyone in the company lives the brand. So, ang brand bonding, building a strong relationship between a brand and consumers in order to grow and retain custom. Principles for internal branding na siya'y upat ka buok. First, choose the right moment. You need to choose the right moment kay of course in doing this it will translate to the way your employees interact with your customer and stakeholders. Second, link in internal and external marketing. So, when having an internal branding, dapat imong internal and external messages must match. Kanang example ani kay ang Ford in which their branding, ang ilang tagline di ba kay go further. Then, the company believes that making internal branding efforts consistent with its external branding. So, unsay connect sa ani internally sa ilang company. Okay. Ilang company na three areas to help employees. So, imo din nilang motto dayon internally, di ba? Sa externally kay ilang tagline kay go further. So, internally, go further, people serving people. Third, bring the brand alive. Kini, dapat siya nag-start sa employees gyud. Example ani kay Starbucks, which is according sa akong research, ang Starbucks ilang employees kay trained well kaayo nila and kabalo mo market sa ilang product, which is gakakita jud nato nga sikat kayo ang Starbucks, so naagid bitaw siya kanang impact. The last one is keep it simple. Kani siya dapat don't overwhelm your employees with too many details. Focus lang sa important brand pillar, price, etc. Ayaw na kay kuan-kuan ni anang uban pa kay dili naman gyapon na mosulod sa ilahang utok tas musamot na noon og kalibog. Next is measuring brand equity. In measuring brand equity, na siya duha ka approach, indirect approach and direct approach. What is indirect approach? Assess potential sources of brand equity by identifying and tracking consumer brand knowledge structure. So, the sources of brand equity and how they affect the outcomes of interest. For this approach, brand audit is important. So, i-explain lang nako later sa sunod, kaya na siya sa sunod nga slide on saang brand audit. The second is the direct approach. Assess the actual impact of brand knowledge on consumer response to different aspects of marketing. So, how these sources and outcomes change it at all. So, for this approach, brand tracking is important. I-explain lang yapon ako unya unsa ang brand tracking. The next, the brand value chain. The brand value chain is a structured approach assessing to the sources and outcomes of brand equity and the way marketing activities create brand value. Diba na model, makita man nato kaning color green. Dayon na ay value stages, na ay marketing program investment, customer mindset, market performance, and shareholder value. Das na pa yun dayon sa ubos din niya ang kanang program quality, marketplace conditions, investor sentiment. Mo siya yung mga multipliers. The brand value chain helps marketers track brand value from the first stage of a marketing investment to the final stage of shareholder value. Then, ang brand value chain provide companies with a snapshot of the brand marketing's program, investment, and initiatives, and offers a structured means to understand where and how value is created, and more importantly, identify and target specific area which needs improvement. So, nara, ang brand audit ug ang brand tracking study. So, brand audit is a focused series of procedures to assess the health of the brand, uncover its sources of brand equity, and suggest ways to improve and leverage its equity. So, ang brand audit is a check-up that evaluates your brand's position in the marketplace. Example bitaw ani kay kanang sa SWOT analysis nga familiar sa ato atanan, in which it includes strength, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities. So, dapat sa brand audit, ma-audit nimo unsa ang strength sa imong company, unsa iyang weaknesses, threats, and opportunities. Then, dapat ang brand audit kay makakover ani nga mga areas, brand value, mission, and company culture. Second, brand tracking studies. Use the brand audit as input to collect quantitative data from consumers over time, providing consistent, baseline information about how brands and marketing programs are performing. So, kining brand tracking studies, it helps us understand where, how much, and in what ways brand value is being created to facilitate day-to-day decision making. So, unsay difference sa brand audit o brand tracking? Ang brand audit, gina-measure niya asa gikan ang brand. While ang brand tracking, gina-measure niya kung asa na ang brand, unsa na yung position sa market, whether marketing programs are having their intended effects. Next, why is brand worth? Top brand management firm Interbrand has developed a model to formally estimate the dollar of a brand. It defines brand value as the net present value of the future earnings that can be attributed to the brand alone. So, ang brand value kanang nganong need gyud ang brand worth, why need siya i-audit, need siya i-track. So, ang brand value man god is important because when people perceive that a brand is distinct and aligns with their personal values, it's a really powerful competitive advantage. The brand value refers to the worth of a brand to the customer. So, di ba naman gani mga meticulous buyer bitaw nga kanang brand really matters, di yun sila musugot anang kuan. So ingana ka worth yun ang worth ang brand. The firm believes marketing and financial analysis are equally important in determining the value of a brand. Its process has 5 steps. So ang first, market segmentation. Familiar naman kay guni sa tuas tanan. The first step to divide the market in which the brand is sold into mutually exclusive segments that helps determine variations among brands' different customer group. Example ani kay imong baligya kay pork og chicken, tas kato kay nay lugar nga puro Muslim. So di ka magbaligya gyud didto og pork kay di man gyapon na didto mahalin. So ingana market segmentation. Second, financial analysis. Interbrand assess purchase price, volume, and frequency to help calculate accurate forecasts of future brand sales and revenue. So, sa imuhang kuan, determining value of a brand, need po nimo og financial analysis kay imuha gud nang i-forecast unsa pila imong revenues ana puhon. So, once it has established brand revenues, it deducts all associated operating costs to the earnings before interest and tax. It also deducts taxes and a charge for the capital employed to operate the underlying business, leaving the economic earnings that is the earnings attributed to the branded business. Third, role of branding. Interbrand next attribute a proportion of economic earnings to the brand in each market segment by first identifying the various drivers of demand and then determining the degree to which the brand directly influences each. The role of branding assessment is based on market research, client workshops, and interviews and represents the percentage of economic earnings of the brand generates, multiplying the role of branding by economic earnings. Also, in role of branding, diri nimo makita ang company name, logo, overall design that is really identifiable as the company itself. Always remember that your brand is the public face and personality of your company. Fourth is the brand strength. Interbrand then assess the brand strength profile to determine the likelihood that the brand will realize forecasted brand earnings. This step relies on competitive benchmark and a structured evaluation of the brand's clarity, commitment, protection, responsiveness, authenticity, relevance, differentiation, consistency, presence, and understanding. For each segment, Interbrand applies industry and brand equity metrics to determine a risk premium for the brand. Brand strength analysis describes efforts to determine the strength a brand has compared with its competitor. So, kaning brand strength, dapat imong brand gahi jud kayo kaysa sa uban nga kanang imong competitor. Example sa Starbucks, o di ba gahi king Starbucks compare sa uban nga kanang same sa ilaha og baligya. Next is the brand value calculation. To calculate brand value is the net present value of the forecasted earnings discounted by the brand discount rate. The net present value calculation is composed of both the forecasted period and the period beyond, reflecting the ability of brands to continue generating future earnings. Next is managing brand equity. So, na siya tulo ka kuan. Brand reinforcement, brand revitalization, and brand crisis. So, first is kaning explain ako ang kaning brand reinforcement. Marketers can reinforce brand equity by consistency conveying the brand's meaning in terms of what product it represents, what core benefit it supplies, and what needs it satisfy. So example kaani kay kanang this is a kanang classic bitaw nga Nivea. So Nivea, which started off as skin cream, then expand into a wide range of skincare and personal care products. So, di ba kay Nivea ra gyud to siya nga mao ra gyud to siya nga skin cream, nag-expand bitaw siya into skincare, then napagyud ayoy uban nga personal care products. So, di ba ilang product nag-present na og both skincare and personal care. Then also ni-expand na sila sa ilang brand, ni-expand na sad ilang brand, gi-reinforce nila ang men's beauty and with their men's range. So, ingana ang brand reinforcement. Next is brand revitalization. A new development in the marketing environment can affect a brand's fortune. Nevertheless, a number of brands have managed to make impressive comeback in recent years. Kani bitaw siya kay kanang imong brand kay ga-decline kanang nag-decline na imong profit baga ka bankrupt na ka tas mo din to nawala ka tas after many years nadayoy comeback sa imong brand sana all na comeback. Tas pag comeback sa imong brand kay dako dayon kayo bitaw siya impact like na market expansion, product modification or brand repositioning. Pwede ra gyud nang basta nag-comeback. Next is brand crisis. Kining brand crisis, mao ni siya ang kanang nabitaw yung mga dili nimo inaasahan na mga pangyayari, mga uncertain events nga wa nimo gina-expect. So, example ani kay kanang mga natural disasters like flooding, fires, etc. Then, how to manage this? Unsa ni nimo pag-manage ang mga brand crisis? So, first, kanang assess the situation, assign duties, and communicate. Decide how to respond, get your message heard, measure the impact of your statements, know when to stop. Kung di na jud makaya nga, gabi na jud siya kakuan, gabi siya effect, then mag-stop na, stop. So, mo na siya ang tulong para ma-manage nimo imong brand equity. Next, devising a branding strategy. Nagyapon siya tulo ka koan. So, a firm's branding strategy, often called its brand architecture. So, first there kay develop new brand elements. Kini siya, it includes logo sa imong brand, color palette, shape, tagline, fonts, imagery, and positioning. Example ani nga nag-change kay kanang ang YouTube. 'Di ba sa una ang YouTube is ang word nga YouTube, ang U kay naka-black tas naka-black iyang font tas iyahang tube kay naka-white font tas red nga background. Sorry kung wala ko mapakita nga picture kay nahimo namang gudan akong PPT good. Then karon ang YouTube nga logo kay nana bitaw ng icon nga murag mo play, makuan manggurutan na, makita mangurutanan kita ana kanang play nga white tas na red din siya nga background. Tas ang word dayon nga YouTube kay naka all black na siya nga font, tas sumpay na siya lahi atong sa una. So nganong nagilis ang YouTube? So according to the company, the new logo allows for a more flexible design that works better across a variety of devices, even on the tiniest screen. This is because when space is limited, for instance on smartphones, the brightened icon can be used as an abbreviated logo which can be seen more easily. So, katong icon nga murag mo play, makaingon din ka nga YouTube ni ana. Then second, apply existing brand elements. So, example na ko ani balik kay ang YouTube. Kay yes, giusab sa YouTube ang ilahang kining logo. Pero naara gyapon sila yung mga gigamit nga daan nga elements. Ilan ang gi-emphasize og ayo, like ang daan nga color sa logo sa YouTube kay red, white and black. Sa new logo na present siya puning tulo ka colors. Then third, use a combination of old and new. O mao na niyang gibuhat sa YouTube, gi-combine nila ang daan ug ang bag-o. So, when firm uses established brand to introduce new product, the product is called brand extension. When marketers combine a new brand with existing brand, the brand extension can also be called sub-brand. Kanang i-combine na nimo. The existing brand that gives birth to a brand extension or sub-brand is the parent brand. If the parent brand is already associated with multiple products through brand extension, it can also be called a master brand or the family brand. Next kay brand extensions. So, brand extension can be classified as kining line extension o ang category extension. So, line extension, di ba? When the parent brand is used to brand a new product that targets a new market segment within the same product category. So, nakita na to dihang example kay Coca-Cola. Na sila new product pero same category, soft drink, ragyapon siya, wala kalahian. Karon gani ang Coca-Cola kay nanasad sila bag-o bitaw nga kanang soft drink gyapon, bag-o nga product katong gitawag og Royal Lemon. I don't know kung nakatilaw na mo ang tanan, basta kay yung color kay mura siya green nga na siya lemon nga na royal murking ana basta. Tas next is category extension, when a parent brand used to enter a different product category. So example di kay Doritos, ang nasa first pick kay palaman ba na siya or something sausawan unsa ba. Dayon naghimo sila another category na po dayon nga junk foods, pero Doritos gyapon ang ngalan. A brand line consists of all products original as well as category extensions sold under a particular brand. So, example aning brand line kay coffee manufacturer, unya nag-add sila decaffeinated coffee pero same brand sa ilahang coffee products na lang sila bitawi ka ng example kay regular coffee and instant coffee ingana. A brand mix is the set of all brand lines that a particular seller makes. May example na ko ani kay kanang ang P&G bitaw Procter and Gamble, in which kanang lahi-lahi bitaw ilahang mga line extension, lahi ang skincare, personal care, etc. A licensed product is one whose brand name has been licensed to other manufacturers that actually make the products. Next is branding decisions. Branding decisions, then na siya alternative branding strategies. So first kay alternative branding strategies. Branding is such a strong force that hardly anything goes unbranded. Assuming a firm decides to brand its product or services, it must choose which brand name to use. So, mo din siyang naitulo. First, individual or separate family brand names. A branding strategy in which products are given brand names that are newly created and generally not connected to the names of the existing brand affected by the company. Sunod, corporate umbrella or company brand name. is a marketing practice involving the use of a single brand name for the sale of two or more related products, mainly used by companies with a positive brand equity. The next, ang ikatulo kay sub-brand name, when a main product creates a subsidiary or secondary brand. New brand attributes are distinct yet related to the main brand. Example, ani kay ang Toyota, pero na sila sub-brand name nga Hilux, Prius, etc. pero related ra gyapon sa Toyota. Then, house of brands versus a branded house. The use of individual or separate family brand names has been referred to as the house of brands strategy, whereas the use of umbrella corporate or company, the brand name is a branded house. So, kung gamiton nimo ang individual or separate family brand, mao na siya ang house of brands. But if gamiton nimo ang umbrella katong corporate or company brand name, mao na siya ang branded house. Next is brand portfolio. Brand portfolio is a set of all brand and brand lines a particular firm offers for sale in a particular category or market segment. Building a good brand portfolio requires careful thinking and creative execution. So, ang brand portfolio is the set of all brands in a company. Product defining roles, portfolio roles, brand scope. Example, ani kay Nestle. So, nara ang Nestle ay. Ay, wala din ako na-appeal ay. So, ang Nestle kay kining kuan, nakalahi ang kanang brand sa mga ice cream, coffee, juice, and etc. etc. So, brand extensions, na rin siya advantages o disadvantages. Advantages, improve odds of success, positive consumer expectation, retailer support, leverage current brand awareness, reduce cost of the launch campaign, feedback benefits. Ang yada yung disadvantages sa brand extension kay brand dilution, di ba? Mawala jud kay mo siya gakawala kay kuan. Nag-extend man ka gakawala tundaan. Risk to the brand integrity, risk of harm to parent brand, cannibalization, lost opportunity to create a new brand.